It's a very warm welcome to all our viewers and welcome to a new edition of Africa Today, our program bringing you all the latest news and events happening around the African continent. My name is Angie Merritt, and as usual, we start with a quick look at the news making the headlines, and we start with the European Union that it announced it had started processes of lifting sanctions against Burundi that has stopped financial aid to the Burundian government. In March 2016, the EU suspended its direct financial support to the Burundian government following the political crisis that was sparked by the controversial third-term bid of then-President Pierre Nkurunziza. We have more details in this story.
The European Union is in the process of removing financial restrictions on Burundi. The decision to lift the ban on restrictions was communicated to Burundi's president when he met the EU delegates on Monday in the political capital, Gitega. The EU representative in Burundi, Claude Bouchou, said this was a starting process to lift the ban on Burundi. In 2016, the EU suspended direct financial support to the Burundian government over human rights violations after the unrest that followed the failed coup of 2015. Since 2020, under the current president, Burundi has made efforts to restore rights and foreign relations and had approached the EU to lift the ban. But different rights groups on Monday wrote a petition to the EU deploring widespread immunity for past and ongoing serious human rights violations in the country.
The head of the World Trade Organization says Africa is working with the European Union and other partners to create regional hubs to produce the coronavirus vaccinations. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala said facilities will be established in South Africa, Senegal and Rwanda. Nigeria is also being considered. She said the over-centralization of vaccine production was incompatible with equitable access, especially during the pandemic and the health crisis. We have more details in this report.
The WHO is setting up a hub in South Africa to give companies from poorer and middle-income countries the know-how and license to produce COVID-19 vaccines. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa hailed the move and called it a historic step to spread life-saving technology. The WHO said the tech transfer hub could make it possible for African companies to begin manufacturing mRNA vaccine, the advanced technology now used in shots from Pfizer and Moderna, in as little as 9 till 12 months. It announced two companies had signed up so far and said it was in talks with Pfizer and Moderna about participating. The WHO has long been calling for the rich countries to share vaccine technology. The initiative to help African countries produce vaccines is especially urgent at a time when cases and deaths on the continent have increased by almost 40% over the past week. In a statement, the WHO described the hub as a training facility where the technology is established at industrial scale and clinical development performed. Interested manufacturers from low and middle income countries can receive training and any necessary license to the technology. Ramaphosa said that the development was historic, but South Africa was also still pushing separately for a waiver to intellectual property rules governing COVID-19 vaccines.
And continuing with our news, the Minister of Irrigation, Mohamed Abdel-Aty, said that Egypt's flexibility during the negotiations over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam has been met with intransigence from Ethiopia. Minister Abdel-Aty discussed with South Sudanese Foreign Minister Beatrice Khamisa-Wani the latest developments concerning the decade-long row between Cairo, Khartoum and Addis Ababa over the Ethiopian dam. We have more details.
Irrigation Minister Mohamed Abdel-Aty said that Egypt's flexibility during the negotiations over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD, has been met with intransigence from Ethiopia. In a meeting on Monday, Minister Abdel-Aty discussed with South Sudanese Foreign Minister Beatrice Khamisa-Wani the latest development concerning the long row between Cairo, Khartoum and Addis Ababa over the GERD. Egypt and Sudan have restored to international diplomacy in the past weeks, briefing regional and international counterparts on their stances and developments in the latest deadlock in negotiations. Tripartite negotiations between Ethiopia and downstream countries Egypt and Sudan stalled in April after Addis Ababa rejected the two countries' request to include the US, the EU and the UN mediation talks alongside with African Union AU, the current mediator. Tensions have mounted further as Addis Ababa remains intent on moving forward with the second filling of the Jad reservoir next month despite the lack of a binding instrument with Cairo and Khartoum. Minister Abdul is on a multi-day visit to Juba that is set to last until Friday to promote bilateral cooperation, including the field of water management. Abdul and Wani also discussed boosting cooperation between Cairo and Juba via the Egyptian South Sudanese High Committee, which is expected to convene on Cairo in July. Abdul expressed his appreciation for the staunch relations between the two countries and the continued efforts made by both sides to strengthen all aspects of cooperation. The Irrigation Ministry has established 6 groundwater plants around Juba and 7 more inside the capital. Some river piers have also been established to connect major cities and villages in South Sudan.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest, Her Excellency Ambassador Sou'ad Shalaby, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. It's a very good afternoon to you, Madam Ambassador.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Madam Ambassador, now the Minister of Irrigation, Mohammed Abdul Ati, is on a several-day visit to South Sudan, and he's had several meetings, including with Juba's Foreign Minister. They spoke a lot about the latest issue regarding the Ethiopian dam, and he said that Egypt's flexibility was really met with Addis Ababa's intransigence. What are your thoughts on this latest statement by the Minister?
Well, I think that Egypt has used all the means and ways of mediation.
Yes.
And it has positioned itself in such a way that it opened all the doors for negotiation and for mediation. And even it did not go to the international community or the African Union, except after the difficult position that Ethiopia is putting it on.
Yes.
So what is the policy of Egypt now is to try to find out from the Nile Basin countries their positions, accepting Egypt's position towards the dam and towards the filling, the filling. And one of the countries that are very, very friendly with Egypt and they are supporting our position is South Sudan. So you have seen that the president has visited Djibouti before, 2 weeks ago. And now, and also Salva Kiir came to Egypt from South Sudan, and also Kenya's president visited Egypt. So all the countries that are in the Nile Basin are trying to support Egypt in order to show that our position is legal, Egypt's position is right and legal, and our demands are accepted by the international community, by the African Union, and it is Ethiopia that have to give some way and means of lowering its demands and accepting the Egyptian and the Sudanese position.
Yes.
And of course, the South Sudan government position is going to be supporting Egypt and Sudan, of course, because it is the interests of South Sudan government to be on board with Egypt and Sudan.
Yes. Now, Madam Ambassador, let me ask you, Ethiopians today are voting in delayed parliamentary elections to choose members of parliament who will then be choosing the prime minister. How do you see this election changing the course of, future negotiations on the dam if the current prime minister, doesn't make it in the second?
Well, the problem with the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is with Tigray, and Tigray wanted to be part of the elections in the first place, and now he has he went to war with the Tigrayans. So and I think that the elections will have to be fair and transparent, so that it shows how many of the Ethiopians are against Abiy Ahmed's policy towards Tigrayans, because of course he needs support of all Ethiopians, especially in the local election and for later on for the presidential elections. He needs all the votes. So it is very clear that these elections are going to be very difficult for him, and he has to work on getting the popularity back.
Right. Madam Ambassador, do you believe, that the course of the negotiations could change, if the person in power or leadership also changes, or is it predestined?
I feel that with the pressure that is put on Ethiopia from the international community and also from the African Union, because of course you know that the African Union is hosted by Ethiopia, and all the leaders, they go to Ethiopia for the summit. So, and there is interventions by the African Union president, so the chairman. So it's all these pressures are taking its toll on Ethiopia in a way that one day I think we will find it giving up its difficult position, its stubbornness, and I think it at least it will explain to the world this position and why it is insisting on filling the dam.
Right, in the
on the next second filling of the dam.
Right. So we've seen Egypt and South Sudan, establishing a joint high committee to enhance bilateral relations and cooperation between the two countries. How do you see progress of this committee's work and the importance of this establishment of stronger relations between the two countries?
Well, you know how much Egypt has supported
South Sudan, yes.
South Sudan economically with development projects and politically in order to, and also in intelligence and in joint training of and police training. And
yes.
So there has been a lot of contacts and a lot of support Egypt is giving through its embassy here and embassy there, and there is a hospital that has been constructed especially for the South Sudanese, and so it's not at all. It's not. It's a long-term relationship, something that we have invested in, and something that we look forward to. So we are sure that this is going to continue, because we were players for the peaceful reconciliation between the political. The political situation that was in South Sudan. We helped them to get back together and become. To stop the the struggle between the two parties.
factions.
So
yes, absolutely.
now we feel that this is the time when South Sudan is building its capacities and building its institutions. So we are helping them by this long-term relationship.
Absolutely, and we've seen over the course of the last period of time, the Prime Minister Madbouli repeatedly saying that Cairo is willing to set up several investment projects with South Sudan in priority issues. Could you tell us a bit about some of these shared business ventures that could arise between Egypt and South Sudan in the coming period?
There has to be stimulations for the Egyptian investors to go there. So if the Prime Minister is going to facilitate those like the bank loans and to support the transport of goods, then this will make it easy for all the investments that are going from Egypt to South Sudan, because it's a good market for us, especially that there is direct lines, direct airlines, and also the investment. There are a lot of infrastructure needed there. So if the Prime Minister could give some incentives for the Egyptian investors and facilitate banking facilities for in South Sudan, then it will be a good market for Egyptian goods, and at the same time there could be agricultural investment and industrial also. Investment by Egyptians or through international and through EU and through African consortiums.
Absolutely right. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador Sou'ad Shalaby, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time and your insight. And that's all the time we have for today's edition of Africa Today. You're in the company of myself, Angie Meher. Many thanks for watching.